All right, first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and great glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and salutations to the elect pushing this truth to the four corners of the earth in truth and sincerity. All right, in this particular video, I want to touch on Trump's plan to suspend the Constitution. And notice this isn't a conspiracy theory. He's already suspended the Constitution for certain people. All right, if you haven't saw that video, I made a video about 2 days ago, Trump saying that we've taken away their freedom of speech. And I got that from the brother Endure All right, Trump has taken away freedom of speech over there in Oregon. He's saying it out his mouth. You can go see it. All right, he says for those who are guilty of the act of sedition, all right, he has taken away their freedom of speech. Sedition is the speech to rebel against the government, causing people to rebel more and more and more. That is sedition. Sedition leads to insurrection. And this is why he is talking about the insurrection. And insurrection is what? A violent uprising against the government. It's just not the speech to rebel against the government. It leads to the action to cause violence to the government, to try to change up the government yourself, the power put into the hands of the people. All right. He's already saying that he will invoke the Insurrection Act. He will do that. And that will basically be martial law. All right. And that right there will suspend the Constitution. You won't have your so-called certain civil liberties, so forth and so on. Once again, I want to reiterate that he has already suspended the First Amendment in Oregon, well, parts of it, the freedom of speech. Eventually, he's going to take away the right to assemble. And this right here can affect the truth, because the Insurrection Act can break up protest, and they can liken 2, 3, 4 brothers out there, 5, 6, some camps even have more. Brothers out there on the highways and byways pushing this truth, they can liken us unto protest. We got the Bible, we got the 12 tribe sign. We're speaking outwardly, to the people. They can say this is a form of protest. You got to get off the streets. All right. This is what time that we're in right now. He's talking about suspending the Constitution. And let's just be clear. The Constitution, like the First Amendment, the freedom to assemble, the freedom of religion. I believe that's the fourth. I'm not an expert on it, but these things were set up for the truth. All right. So this truth can get out there into the four corners of the earth. All right. Prophecy says in the book of Matthew's 24th chapter, I believe around the 14th verse, that when this truth is spread to the four corners of the earth, then the end shall come. So this truth is in direct opposition of Esau's plans. So he wants to suppress this truth as well. But now we see Esau coming down with great wrath because he has but a short time. All right. But we're in these times of war, civil war, race war, famine, martial law, World War III brewing as well. As a matter of fact, before we play this video, let me get a precept. 2 Ezra 15:15, and we read, "For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hand." That's right. Getting into a civil war and a race war as well. A civil war is citizens of a nation is fighting against each other. And we see that happen. We got the right wing versus the left wing. All right. The pro-abortionists versus the pro-lifers, man. And then I believe North Carolina, they're introducing a bill to make abortions illegal, to seek information about abortion illegal, and punishable by years in prison. It's illegal to drive somebody to another state to get an abortion, to have phone calls about it. You can't talk about it, anything. This is in North Carolina. All right, this bill that's being talked about being passed. All right, that adds fuel to the fire to this to this separation, to the civil war here in America, man. All right? America is divided, and you know what the scripture says, a house divided amongst itself shall not stand. And I'm loosely quoting it. All right? The race war, you have so-called black militias versus so-called white militias, and they can't wait to get at each other. Then you have militias like the Boogaloo Boys, which are accelerationists. They want to accelerate the civil war here in America. They know that the civil war is going to happen, and they are preparing for that civil war. All right? So right here, man, hey, look. With swords in their hand. Hey, swords being what? Modern day gun. Well, the modern day sword is a gun. Salaki, I said that wrong. You know? And they'll have other weapons in their hands. Bricks, chains, bats. You know, anything that gives them the upper hand. Right? For there shall be sedition amongst men. And we see that sedition right now. Sedition being the speech to incite rebellion against the government. That leads to insurrection, which is the action, the violent uprising against the government, right? And invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, right? They're not going to be soothed by these talking heads that's on the government payroll to tell them to calm down. They're not going to listen. In the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, martial law. All right? He can cloak it with, since there's civil unrest, which is another way to say martial law. You know, well, they need to do martial law. They say, hey, because of civil unrest, we need to invoke the Insurrection Act, which is basically, you know, martial law. And you can check that with Chat GPT. I'll let you know that. I've done that already on one video if you want to go look at that. But hey, this is the times that we're in. All right. So with no further ado, let's play this video. Which young brother really he's dropping it on here. But anyway, let's get into it.
Welcome to the News Hour. Over the last few days, President Trump has repeatedly questioned the right to due process, a fundamental right guaranteed by the Constitution that protects people against arbitrary government actions.
The president's attacks come as the courts increasingly warn that the president is exceeding the scope of his authority. Our White House correspondent Laura Barone Lopez has this report.
At an event today announcing Washington, D.C. as the host city for the 2027 NFL Draft, President Trump again doubted the need for due process under the Constitution.
It's a very difficult thing with the courts because the courts have all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they said, maybe you have to have trials. We're going to have 5 million trials. Doesn't work. You wouldn't have a country left.
Okay.
You see, he wants to take away due process. You know, he's using the face of you Jakes out there, preferably you northern tribes at the moment, right? But once he is given the authority to take away due process, he can snatch you up and accuse you of basically anything. There is no, he'll have his day in court. No longer. You will not go see the judges. You will get just judged right there, all right? You're being grabbed up for sedition and insurrection, and that is the death penalty. No, you would not be tried in court. You would just 100% get the punishment.
So this is wild, like genuinely wild. We need to talk about what just leaked out of the White House, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this could change everything. So here's what happened. Conversations from inside Trump's inner circle just got exposed, and what they're discussing, suspending the Constitution. Yeah, you heard that right. The actual U.S. Constitution. The document that's supposed to protect every single one of us from government overreach. They're talking about ways to legally, and I'm using that word very loosely here, ways to legally suspend parts of it, starting with something called habeas corpus. Now, if you're like, what even is habeas corpus? Don't worry, I'll break it down in a second. But first, let me just say this. This isn't some conspiracy theory floating around on Reddit. This is Stephen Miller, one of Trump's top advisors, going on CNN on national television and basically admitting they're looking into this. October 8th, just a few days ago, he sat there and claimed Trump has what he called plenary authority as president, which is just fancy lawyer talk for unlimited power.
That's right. And after he has said that he has plenary authority, he caught himself and just, it was an awkward moment there on CNN. He caught himself and just stayed quiet, cut himself off. And it was, you can see it. Motherfuckers were sitting there looking at it like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with E? He glitch out? But nah, he was really spilling the beans. And he caught himself like, oh shit, I shouldn't have said that.
Power that
Hope he plays it.
will override constitutional limits. Can you believe this? Like, come on. This is the stuff we learn about in history class. The stuff that happens in other countries. Not here, not in America, but here we are. But before we go any further, real quick, let's be honest. You can't really trust mainstream media anymore. That's why we built Pump Politics, to bring you real stories, real context, and no corporate spin. If you want to stay ahead of the headlines, join our free newsletter. We'll send the news straight to your inbox every day. Just click the link in the description to join. And if you just want to support what we're doing, join us. Be part of the community that actually cares about the truth. All right, let's get back to the video. And it gets worse, because this isn't the first time Miller said this stuff. Back in May, same guy, same argument. He went on record saying the administration is actively, and he used those exact words, actively looking at suspending habeas corpus. His justification? He's calling the current wave of undocumented migrants an invasion. Because apparently, if you can label something an invasion, you can suspend constitutional rights. That's the logic they're working with. Let me be clear about what habeas corpus actually means, because this matters. It's your right to not be thrown in jail without a trial. It's the thing that stops the government from just arresting you and keeping you locked up indefinitely without charging you with anything. It's been a cornerstone of American law for centuries, and they want to suspend it, to fast-track migrant expulsions, to crack down on protests, to silence opposition. The ACLU, the actual American Civil Liberties Union, put out a warning in September saying Trump's latest moves are a coordinated assault on the constitutional order. Not my words, theirs. A coordinated assault. They're talking about troops being deployed to U.S. cities, arrests of political opponents, threats of nationwide crackdowns. This isn't speculation anymore. This is happening right now. And lawmakers? Oh, they're freaking out. Democrats, obviously. But even some Republicans are calling this an existential threat to American democracy. An existential threat? That means they think democracy itself could end. That's not hyperbole when it's coming from elected officials who actually understand how the system works. So why does this matter to you? Why should you care about some legal terminology in White House conversations? Because this affects everyone. If they can suspend habeas corpus for migrants today, what stops them from using it on protesters tomorrow? What stops them from using it on journalists who criticize the administration? What stops them from using it on you if you say the wrong thing online? This is the slippery slope everyone warned about, and we're not at the top anymore. We're sliding down fast. Here's the thing that really gets me though. Like, what really makes this insane is how casual they are about it. Miller's on CNN talking about this like it's a normal policy discussion, like suspending
Well, here's the thing. Just go. Right. It's the hate for you Jakes that goes over a lot of Jakes' heads, man. That they're putting themselves in certain positions through the hate for you Jakes. Under any other circumstance, they will not be talking about suspending parts of the Constitution. Any other circumstance, they will not be taking away somebody's freedom of speech. The only reason they're getting it off is because you are the face of hate right now. They're using the old ancient hatred against Jake and Esau to put themselves in position. All right, that goes over a lot of Edomite heads as well as you Jake heads, man. You see? That old ancient hatred, that we was tussling in the womb. Kicking and punching on each other so much. So coming out of the womb, they were still scrapping. You had Jacob was holding the heel of Esau. All right, it was set up for us to have the blessing, but us to take it from Esau as well. Esau said that through the ancient times, after he mourns for Isaac, he is going to kill his brother Jacob. You see? And he is still trying to kill us until this day. All right? He is the evil on the earth and we are the good on the earth. So, to be evil is to hate good, and to be good is to hate evil. We have a natural, a spiritual hatred for each other. And this is why he's getting a lot of what he's getting off right now talking about Trump. He's using the ancient hatred that we have toward each other. All right. In any other circumstance, he would not be talking about suspending the Constitution. All right?
Constitutional rights is just another item on the agenda. No big deal. Just overthrowing 250 years of constitutional law. Just undermining the entire foundation of American democracy. Totally normal Tuesday stuff, apparently. And Trump, he hasn't exactly distanced himself from these comments. Radio silence, which, if you follow Trump at all, you know that silence means agreement. When has Trump ever stayed quiet about something his team said that he disagreed with? Never. He tweets, he rants, he fires people. But this, nothing. Because this is exactly what he wants. We're about to go deep on this story. I'm going to break down exactly what habeas corpus is, why it matters, what historical precedents exist for suspending it, and most importantly, what happens next. Because with the 2026...
Well, the point is made, and I believe what so-called legal groundwork he has to suspend due process is, the riots out there. Just, invoke the Insurrection Act. But I'm going to look more into this. I have to hit the road in a second. Go on, head to the plantation. Hope it's edifying. Hope you can take something from this. And with that, say shalom.